EWTN Capitol Hill correspondent Erik Rosales spoke to Senator Scott as he campaigned in Des Moines.
Let's get to the two wars taking place right now. We have Israel versus Hamas and Ukraine versus Russia.
Yes.
The president has asked for more money from Congress. What do you see are the priorities for this as president of the United States?
If I were president, the one thing I would say is that the immediate beginning of the war that Israel is going to have to wage against Hamas to wipe them off the map, we should have our single-minded approach in funding Israel and giving them the resources, replenishing the supplies that are necessary for them to be successful. We have engaged for the last 2 years in support for Ukraine. I think separating the issues so that we can give a bipartisan, hopefully unanimous support for the state of Israel. If we can do that, that will be in America's best interest, and it will show no daylight standing shoulder to shoulder and back to back with the nation of Israel.
Let's get to the issues. Issue of abortion. You supported, co-sponsored the 15-week abortion ban. Even Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America, says that's a good start.
Yes.
Do you see any sort of compromise with this, or what's your policy on abortion?
Well, I have 100%, thankfully, pro-life voting record. I'm 100% pro-life conservative. As President of the United States, I would sign very conservative pro-life legislation, and that's why we start with the 15-week limit across the nation. Creating the culture of life is how we win and are successful in saving more lives.
Another issue that you're very strong on is school choice.
Yes.
School choice, we've seen an increase in enrollment in Catholic schools after COVID,
yes,
even during COVID. Do you see this as a broader issue that needs to be taken by the states, or is there a federal mandate that you can come up with?
Wherever the kid goes, the money follows. There's no question that a quality education is really important. And frankly, as a result of COVID, we saw kids trapped and out of the classroom, but in Catholic schools, by and large, they were still in the schools. And the precipitous drop, the largest drop in test scores in American history came because of COVID. But the Catholic schools saw their numbers stay steady or even improve. That drastic contrast, it is alive for every American to see, and we want more quality education, and I can't think of a better example of that right now in America than Catholic schools.
DACA is another big issue taking place right now. Thousands of kids are here. They want to become U.S. citizens. Even the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops calls for immigration reform. Is that something that would be part of your presidency?
You know, I look in the past and I see the coalitions that have come together, even under the former president, President Trump, put a deal together for Congress where you had DACA, border protection, and unfortunately it fell apart because without first dealing with the southern border crisis, it's really hard for us to get to step 2 and deal with any other issues. And so my position would be the same, that the most compassionate thing we can do immediately is to eliminate the threat coming from our southern border. That opens up the conversation for us to talk about a meritocracy in this nation as it relates to a border and as it relates to an immigration policy.
Let's talk a little bit about racism. It's still alive out there in America. You are a conservative Southern man, but also a conservative Southern black man.
Yes.
You are a mentor. You are someone of people of color to look up to as a leader. Do you see the presidency still having that hurdle for the African American or for a person of color?
Well, I think in this nation, you can be anything you want to be, to include to be president of the United States. We've seen it happen in the past. The good news is I have great confidence in the voters of our country to choose a candidate that best represents their character, not the color of their skin. My goal as a presidential candidate is to make sure enough American voters get to hear and see and even feel my message. When that happens, will be their choice. So getting there is our objective, but I have no doubt in my mind that the American people will support the best candidate with a character that reflects theirs as long as we get in front of them.
Talk to me a little bit about how your faith has shaped your political decisions?
You know, in 2013, I came up with something called the Opportunity Agenda. And the Opportunity Agenda really is my faith is embedded in my Opportunity Agenda. I'll give you a couple of examples. Number one, I believe that Matthew 25 tells us a lot about the cohorts of Americans who need specific and unique attention, whether it be widowers, or people who are incarcerated who need our attention. The fact of the matter is the gospel always leads us in the right direction of providing assistance. It says, when did I see you hungry and feed you? When did I see you thirsty and give you something to drink? When did I see you naked and clothe you? As you've done unto the least of these, so you do it unto me. I think we have an opportunity, not just a responsibility, but an opportunity to live out that message.
The campaign trail can be very tough. How do you keep your spiritual glass filled?
Well, you know, the only way to do it is to start every single day off in the Word of God. Every day I have the opportunity, and when I wake up, the first thing I do is pray. The second thing I do is open the book of Proverbs and read the Proverbs of the day. And then the third thing I do is a devotional. And then I listen to some positive, praiseworthy music. And then I get into my news of the day and the job. But if I ever, and sometimes I have in the past, get confused and start with the politics of the day, it kind of ruins your day. And so for me, the more I search out the gospel, the better off I am the entire day. But you can't let yesterday's gospel work for today. You need it every single day.
Senator Scott, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Erik's full interview with Senator Scott will be available on the EWTN YouTube page. Plus, we have additional reporting in our sister publication, the National Catholic Register. Stay with EWTN News as we continue coverage of the 2024 presidential election, candidate interviews, debates, polling, and analysis from a Catholic perspective.